Welcome everybody to Dropkick the Commute. It is Friday, June 28th, 2024. Happy Pride Day. We're out here. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Galeer?
I'm fantastic, but I'm even more fantastic because we have another guest on the show.
Whoa!
We're joined by Joe Katz, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he is the, correct me if I'm wrong with my research, but he's the only Jewish comedian ever.
Yes, I'm the first Jewish comedian.
The first and only Jewish comedian. No one's ever.
No, they keep trying to make them, and they're just not really. They're like, it'll be like a Jew that like is like kind of funny, but he's too nervous and like nebbishy to get on stage, and then
But that's not like, you.
No. I'm too full of self-confidence. Some have said.
You just get right up on that stage and go to town.
Hell yeah!
Like never before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's like a lawnmower.
Hell yeah,
man. Aside from comedy, though, you're a pro wrestling fan. That's obviously why you're here. Yeah. And let's hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the thing I've always kind of felt cheated out of. So I'm turning 25 this Monday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. That's probably when this episode will come out. So like actually happy birthday. Everybody say happy birthday.
Let's go. I'm 25 today. Quarter life.
That's crazy.
Assuming I'm Methuselah. I don't know.
It goes downhill from here. It doesn't get any better.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what I've heard. That's really uplifting. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
So I say that just to say that I feel like I was cheated out of like the actual golden years, like being a part of them and experiencing them as they were happening. So like, for instance, like I was 7 in like 2006. My mind when it comes to wrestling and a lot of pop culture in general is that the best was probably 1994 to 2007.
Yeah.
I would say that shit kind of banged during that era. And obviously, I was like a child when I was, in 2007. I was 8. And, my parents, it didn't help that I was beating up my sisters occasionally, but I wasn't exactly encouraged to watch wrestling,
Yeah.
So a lot of the love and the interest for it has been retrospective through things like the WWE Network or Peacock. And, just being able to watch it vigorously through there. And currently on my Attitude Era watch through, I started in 98. And
I'm doing that too.
Oh, are you? It's the shit.
Hell yeah.
I'm very slow with it though. I'm on like SummerSlam 2000. Like,
oh, you're not slow. I started this 7 years ago, and I am in. I shouldn't say 7. It's probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I think I'm on. What am I on? Right before WrestleMania 17.
Okay, all right.
So like 2000, like April, like late March of 2001.
You got a ways to go.
I do, but the issue is I'm too afraid to do WrestleMania 17 because I know that that's kind of when shit stops in some ways. Just like
definitely like take a turn. Yeah, I know.
Definitely. You still get the SmackDown 6, and you still get like a lot of like the cool like Paul Heyman type stuff. But then you also get like the Reign of Terror from Triple H, and you get like a lot of this type of shit, and you're like, ugh.
I think to a degree though, like nostalgia makes it good. Like I'm on the same boat. Like I didn't start watching wrestling until 2009, 2010. So like all of that is like same for me. Like my friend like showed me all the stuff, and I'm just like. That is nostalgia for me. So like I'll go back and see it, and it's just like it's a completely different time. And like but also like looking at it today, like just like how big wrestling is now and like how global it is. And I will agree to a degree that the 90s was like the golden era for sure. But I think to respectfully, like now we're also at like a really interesting point in time where it's all really fucking good. And it's like things are happening that people would have never imagined like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to that period of time, did you guys watch Who Killed WCW?
Yes.
Did you watch all 4 episodes?
No, I've seen like 2, I think.
So, okay, so I finished it, and it is so good. Like, it is done so well.
Who killed it?
Yeah.
Everybody. Like 12 different people killed WCW essentially. But that documentary is so like funny because they ask the question like who killed WCW, and they ask everyone they're interviewing, and like Eric Bischoff will blame one person, it cuts to them, they blame a different person, it cuts to them, they blame a different person, and it keeps cutting back and forth, and it shows all these different perspectives. But in watching all of that, the people that killed WCW are just the network. Like, they just fucking murdered WCW, and they really get into like all the financials and stuff, and they were doing some shady shit, man. It's crazy. Like, they were taking their revenue and losses like from WCW and applying it to different books in Turner, and just like, oh well, they make the videotapes for WCW, so we can report their losses on the WCW books. And it was like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, so much shit.
You can't really get in trouble for it 20 years later.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
I mean, maybe you could, I don't know.
I think, quickly, just to go back to, I apologize, I forgot your name, Galeer, but,
Yeah, just call me
jerk.
Galeer. No, it's okay. That's how we refer to each other on the show.
Okay.
It's true.
All right, good. Okay. So I would say that there is definitely like wrestling, and the product is definitely better in some respects now, and there's a lot more of it and everything like that. But I almost have this like false nostalgia thing going on where I see especially stuff from like that era, 97 to like 2004, let's say, and something about it, maybe it's just, I don't know, just false, or thinking back to when I was like a child and being like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be like a kid again? Obviously that like plays a big part of it, but like there is something just like, I'm like, damn, it just felt so cool. Like,
it had a certain aura to it that is like not around anymore in any product. Like, you watch it and it just hits different because it's funny because like, I don't know if it's just, I mean, number one, it's the crowds, right? The crowds were fucking insane, like just crazy. And then there's something about honestly, like before WWE went HD and you watch the old shit with the 3x4 aspect ratio, dude, it just like, damn, this is a good clip.
Even something as small as the fact that the commentator tables were closer to the ring, it seemed. Something about the fact that it was like this like small, kind of dangerous, poorly organized like circus. It was just the shit. I don't know. I don't even need like, you know, lesbian pool pudding matches. I don't care about that crap. I'm just like, the rest of it is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Come on.
Kino.
Do you remember like what got you into wrestling in the first place?
What was the first thing you saw?
Yeah.
That you remember?
I wish I had like a good answer for this. I think what it might be is the game WrestleMania 19 from the Nintendo GameCube.
Hell yeah. Okay.
I think I had a GameCube. I still do it somewhere back there. And I think that I saw that game and was just like, this looks interesting. And I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what did it. I can't really, it's either that or like randomly I was watching TV and like in my like infant brain, I like saw like, I don't know, like Matt Hardy crash through a table, and I was like, "Oh, this is
cool."
You know? Yeah.
I was thinking about this question the other day because I was like, "What if I ever get asked this?" Because I was like, "I don't know," and I think I traced.
Well, here, let me do it.
Okay, go ahead.
What was the first time you watched? What was the first wrestling that you saw?
Galeer, I'm so glad that you asked me this question.
Very genuine question.
I think I traced it back to my cousin had WCW NWO Revenge on the N64, and I think I played it there when I was very young, and then I was like, I want a wrestling game, and then it was SmackDown versus Raw 07. I want a wrestling game for my birthday. No, it wasn't SmackDown versus Raw. It was SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. PS2, baby.
Also a great game.
That's the first. I played the fuck out of that game, man.
That's a banger.
Played all the SVRs until like 2010, I think. And then specifically, I had a WrestleMania 23 Steelbook that I got for Christmas that I watched probably like 20 times.
Yeah.
And that shit got me in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love
And we didn't have cable, so I would watch Raw 2 weeks after it aired on the Spanish channel, Channel 11.
Wow. My story about that is that we didn't have cable, and I was a huge SmackDown fan because they were on My TV, I think it was called.
My Network TV.
Yeah, My Network, which we could get through some weird bunny antenna nonsense.
Channel 16, bro.
Yes. So I was like, oh, I love SmackDown because I never fucking saw Raw. So I was just like, oh, SmackDown's my thing.
Yeah.
I think also it might just be the fact that I like playing with action figures, and that probably helped, like, boost.
that was a big one for me too.
Action figures, yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Galeer, what got you into wrestling, since you asked me?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
Good question.
Oh, very good question. I didn't think anyone would ever ask me that. So my first like memory that I can remember is being over like my friend's house. He was much older than me. It was like a family friend.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like his mom babysat me all the time. And all I remember is like being in the office with him, and he was like, "Have you ever heard of the Undertaker?" And I was like, "No." I was probably
What's
like,
that?
I was like 9 or 10, and he pulls up just a video of Undertaker's entrance, and he does the thing with his eyes, and it scared the shit out of me. And I was like, and then he showed me the match. I don't remember who the match was, but I was like, this is fucking awesome. I don't know what this is, but it's awesome. And then about a year later, I got SmackDown versus Raw 09, probably the worst SmackDown versus Raw looking back.
Definitely.
But for nostalgic and personal reasons, it's one of my favorites. But I got it for the Wii.
Dude, I was about to say the same thing.
Where they implemented like motion control.
Fucking horrible.
It was so bad.
Bad.
It was very bad, but it holds a special place in my heart. And then kind of from there, I was like, man, I'm gonna like start watching. I thankfully did have cable.
And
so
how was it?
It was great, actually. I got to watch NXT or Nexus's debut on Raw when they like killed everybody.
Oh my god.
And that was like the start of when I started watching. It was 3 big things that I remember. Nexus's debut, I watched live. Sheamus winning the world title like a month after he debuted. And then I don't know, what's the third thing that happened in 2010? The Miz winning the world title was another big one, like soon after.
Oh my god. Dude, so you know Frank, my friend Frank. He fucking Joe, you know him, right?
Everyone knows Frank. Oh, shout out Frank.
He has a brother named Joe, so maybe you guys have that mental link there.
Frank, now that you think about it.
He's also a slender Jewish boy.
He's not, no. So Frank, it's so funny because we were talking about it. He's not like a huge wrestling fan at all. He has seen like all of the big moments just because he's been at people's houses. He's seen all the big stuff live because he saw the Nexus debut. He saw the Shield breakup. He saw Undertaker's streak get broken. He saw Kofi Mania. And then he saw fucking CM Punk come back in Survivor Series.
Okay. What a lucky bastard.
Now that I think about it, though, so like I started in 2010. The last thing I remember when I stopped watching for a little bit was Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker 2 at WrestleMania, where he retired.
Okay, yeah.
And then I came back to it the night that Kofi Mania happened. My fucking, do you remember Derek?
Oh yeah.
Another best friend of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
Shout
him
out
well.
Derek. He invited me over because they do predictions, and then whoever got the most predictions right would win like a toy belt. And so I was like, oh fuck yeah, I'll do this. Or it was like loser had to order everyone pizza next time or something. And it was for WrestleMania. I was like, man, I haven't seen wrestling in years. I wonder what it's like now. And it was like Daniel Bryan's the champion. I had missed the whole Daniel Bryan even winning in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like that. And then Kofi was in the main event and he fucking won. And I was like, what the hell? So that was like my reintroduction. And then it's been nonstop ever since.
Yeah, I think mine was probably like sophomore year of college, which was for me was the Kofi Mania. Like kind of the build to that. I think I stopped What was the WrestleMania with the Mardi Gras mask?
That was 30. No.
Oh.
Oh, no. 2018. So 34.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, I think,
Because it was the
that's
year
probably
before
when I started
Copenhagen.
again. Yeah, I think I missed pretty much 2010 to 2018, which I guess is good. I missed a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot
I
of
also did.
bullshit.
I missed what 20. Let's see. Last WrestleMania was 24, and then from 24 until like 36, I didn't watch. So I had a big fucking gap there, and then I started
Yeah.
watching during COVID again.
And thank God, because you didn't miss a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot. It just wasn't good.
Yeah.
But you know what is good?
Raw now.
Raw,
Woo,
Raw
woo, woo,
right
woo.
now.
Everything, bro.
Cherry,
Yeah, let's take off
cherry.
our nostalgia glasses here. Let's talk about the present. WWE has been killing it with their weekly programming. Fucking
That's true.
crazy. And we had another banger episode of Raw on Monday. We're continuing our Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud here. And we come out with Drew just shitting on CM Punk. He's like, oh, I fucking went to Chicago. I beat the shit out of you. You're garbage and all this stuff. And again, like they're continuing to build this great feud that without CM Punk there, he showed up once and then he showed up at Clash. And, you know, majority of it has just been Drew shitting on him on social media and them still continuing to build it. And I think a great way. Joe, I'm curious about your take on the whole thing. Are you a CM Punk fan, number one? Because I know he's pretty divisive. And number two, do you enjoy the feud?
I think I'll start with the second one. I think the feud is awesome. I think that Drew, this is like the best I've probably ever seen him
Yeah.
work, either heel or face, if we want to use insider terms.
Insider lingo.
Yeah. I subscribe to the newsletter for a reason, man. No, I think that this whole Drew McIntyre thing I think is super cool. I think it's cool how it's organic because Punk actually got injured at the hands of McIntyre, right? Which cost him the ability to like work at Mania or whatever. I think that whole thing is super organic and cool. I think that Punk doesn't have to be thrust into a title shot thing right now.
Dude,
because-
everyone wants him to be. I'm just like,
Nah. Why?
we got.
He doesn't need it.
We put that clip about our opinions on that.
Oh
and
my
everyone was
God.
like- people were pissed. They were
Oh,
like,
really?
"The storyline sucks." And I'm like, tell me how. Tell me why.
Yeah. Yeah,
I totally sorry, what were you saying?
yeah, we put out a clip of the ending of Clash, and we specifically said like this feud does not need the title. You know, they're building it up in this great way, and so many people commented and were like, "Oh, this is shit booking. This is the worst booking I've ever seen in my life." Shut up,
me how.
man.
Austin
Give me one
Triple
good
H.
reason.
Have it be Austin Triple H. Austin
Ooh, yeah.
drops him from a car, from a forklift in a car, then they go and have a 3 stages of hell match. They don't need, any type of title. If they hate
know
each
why?
other, then
It's
they'll
'cause
have blood
they're-
matches.
It's because they're that good and they have chemistry. Like,
Yeah.
tell me
Yeah.
what putting a title in this does. Like,
Yeah.
If anything, the lack of the title makes it more important because that's the whole like centerpiece. It's like Drew keeps getting like he won the championship, he lost it, he had another chance and was going to win and he lost it.
Right.
And now I'm wondering, he's entering Money in the Bank like we said, and
Yeah.
And now I wonder, there could be different outcomes here. He could maybe almost win it, get screwed over by Punk again. He could maybe almost win it, get screwed over by Punk again. Or he wins it,
Yeah.
cashes in on the same night like he says, and that's when Punk screws him over, which I think would be fucking hilarious.
That would be so good, dude. Oh my God. Can you imagine what would happen? Like,
Well, again, it's just he's getting trolled so
Yeah.
hard, dude. Like it has to.
that
like, I
would
feel like,
truly be the ultimate troll. Dude, people would get so angry. The same people that like commented, they would lose their shit.
But there almost sounds like a risk there in a way, because it's like, okay, you might lose a lot of people doing this.
Well, I think it's something that we talked about too. It's like, how long can they keep trolling for like that? Like, how long can they have CM Punk just be a fucking troll and keep doing this? Like, eventually it needs the payoff, but
Right.
that would be such a way to troll him, dude.
Well, I'm thinking SummerSlam is going to be the match, but the thing that I realized is that Punk was supposed to be on SmackDown to talk about like his injury status, and he never brought it up once.
Yeah.
So that has me like worried, like, what's his injury status? Are we going to get him for SummerSlam? I don't really know.
What is the official like injury that he has? It's something to do with his arm?
His tricep, yeah.
Tricep,
Yeah.
And like he tore the shit out of that multiple times when he was in his AEW run.
Yep.
And he came back surprisingly quickly, but also I don't know what their like policy for, healing from injuries is, because people do be getting injured pretty frequently over there.
Oh yeah.
But like he came back in like 2 or 3 months, I want to say, and then like, after that, probably like another 3 or 4 months. So I don't really know.
He's getting up. Sorry.
No, yeah, because it was Rumble he got injured.
Yep.
I looked up out of curiosity torn tricep recovery time, but obviously like every injury is different, so
right.
I'm getting a lot of mixed answers here. But it's been 5-6 months, so who knows? Maybe we'll get an update soon.
He's also kind of old. I don't know, how old is he? Is he in his 40s yet?
He's like 45 or something like that.
He's getting up there.
Mid 40s. So, very honestly, if he comes back and gets hurt just as quickly again, which I don't want that to happen, obviously, but if it does, like, it might be time to like consider maybe moving into a different
backstage role or something, or commentary or like something like that.
But like at the same time, like, he was getting injured so much, but then I think about when he came back for when Collision started, and he wrestled for like a good like 3 or 4 months before,
Well, I know he did also specifically mention like his big one at AEW when he was out for 10 months, like due to injury and suspension. I remember he mentioned on that big interview he was on that his recovery took like 8 months, because it was also the level of care at AEW, like for talent. Obviously WWE has a much higher healthcare system than AEW. It seems. So he could already be close to recovery.
I'm thinking he's close only because this has been so drawn out, not in a bad way. It's just been very like, it's a very slow burn, but it's gonna start getting to the point where people might start getting like, okay, come on, like, where's the payoff? So I almost think it's like it is almost time. Hopefully SummerSlam, if not SummerSlam, maybe soon after that. I don't really know.
Apologies if you already said this, but I and we'll get to this obviously, but on this Raw, I believe it was this one, they they kind of in a way wrote him off for like a while, right? Unless this was on SmackDown.
That was on SmackDown, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think that, I don't know, the case could be made that that's a way for them to write him off until like the Raw before SummerSlam, and then to be like, bam, or it could just be to further the feud in general while Punk is like recuperating or healing or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that there's definitely, I don't know, if they're bothering pushing, continuing that storyline, continuing that feud, I think it means that he's probably a bit better than maybe we know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking is going to be the case. Like I said, like Money in the Bank, we could see Drew almost win, maybe win, and then the cash-in gets fucked up. It's tough though, because part of me like doesn't want the Money in the Bank match to be kind of like
meaningless
given to him for the sake of that feud, but also it would be really fucking funny.
It would.
It would be so
Definitely.
good.
Yeah.
Who do we have for Money in the Bank so far? It's Gable, Jey Uso,
Yeah.
Drew,
Yep.
right? Or is he arguing with Adam Pearce, and Pearce is like, you gotta qualify for it.
He's going to be in a qualifying match.
But he's gonna win
Tonight,
Yeah.
are they doing that?
Drew's would
on
probably be
Friday.
on
28th.
Monday.
He's on Raw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
get the brand shit
Yeah,
mixed
yeah.
up. Men's
Oh.
Andrade.
Oh,
is in
yeah.
it,
Oh,
too.
Andrade.
Andrade and Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We had 4.
Um,
Forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
so-
I mean, out of that, other than Drew, I think most likely to win it would probably be Jay.
Yeah.
So out of what we have right now.
Yeah.
But then again, my thought being with, and I'm sure we'll go over this too, so I don't want to cart before the horse too much, but
No, go for it.
with some of the potential bloodline related stuff that might be going on, do you need Jay to be the world champion for those sorts of things if you're going to use the Money in the Bank as a way to, get him the championship,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs it. I mean, a few things. I don't think he's ready for it yet. But also, I don't think he needs to be in it with we're probably going to see some kind of new bloodline versus old bloodline. That's clearly the direction we're going in.
Right.
So I don't think, that almost kind of writes him off as like not being a potential winner. I'm curious to see who else qualifies though.
Yeah,
for
we
the
have 2 more
match.
slots, so
So yeah.
And the women's match too. They've
They've been slowly adding people.
yeah.
We have Io Sky, Chelsea Green, and then Lyra Valkyria.
Yep.
I could see out of those 3 right now, they were being like, oh, could Io Sky like be the first one to win back-to-back Money in the Bank, which would be kind of cool. I feel like she kind of really hasn't been doing a whole lot though, so I don't know. Lyra's been hot lately, like
Yeah.
but I think she's almost like too green to like be put in that position yet.
Mhm.
And then Chelsea Green, of course. I don't think Chelsea Green's gonna win.
No. She's just gonna take some nasty bumps,
Do
probably.
nasty bumps, do some comedy
Yeah.
in there. You gotta wonder how she feels about doing a comedy bit. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. She was posting some. I see something on Twitter where she was posting some wild shit about how if she wins, she's gonna. Oh God, I don't want to fuck this up. Sorry. Talk about something else while I inaccurately quote this, if you don't mind.
The Chelsea Green, fun fact too, was a popular clip with us too recently.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
The
her
masked
fucking
Chelsea Green. People are loving that on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right now.
People were
I'm
calling
sure
her
they are.
Chelsea Verde.
I think we should have a section on here where we just like review like comments on our TikToks.
That
What
would be
did I
good.
see, on the Cody Rhodes I Quit match videos, someone was like, Cody Rhodes is a cheater.
That's funny.
and you replied to it and you were like, in an I Quit match?
Yeah, that's.
is
I
what I
don't
said.
quite know how that works.
Mama
said it in
Rhodes
an I
is
Quit
getting us
match.
a lot of hits right now.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
But
100K baby.
I'll just quickly say I found the Chelsea Green tweet I was
Yeah,
looking
tell
for,
us,
which
tell
is
us.
that she says, when I win, I'm starting a petition to change the WWE Women's Championship back to the Divas Championship. So
hell yeah, dude.
That's good.
imagine.
It should just be reintroduced as its own championship. Why not?
Yeah,
Bring it
I
in.
suppose. Are there
no,
not
I-
enough titles?
I think if anything, they should introduce like a women's mid card title.
That's
just to
actually
give-
true, yeah.
It's kind of like they just did in NXT, the North American
Mhm.
Women's Championship,
Yeah.
like something like that.
That's definitely true.
I feel like Triple H might do something like that. I feel like if anyone were to do it, Triple H would introduce that. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. What
Yeah,
else?
but
What else do we have? We had
So
some.
yeah,
Raw was spicy.
Raw was real spicy. So we had what seems to be a lead up to a triple threat. We've had this ongoing thing with Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser, and Braun Breaker. I mean, Braun Breaker's been murdering everybody, but the past 2 weeks, Braun's had a match, and Ludwig came in and took out Sheamus, and then this time Sheamus saved Braun, and then Braun just killed both of them. He just ran into both of them. So it kind of seems like we're getting a triple threat between those three.
Between those three, definitely. I'm curious to get Joe's take on Braun versus Sami Zayn, because I think Braun's gonna
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah, that was a match that was announced for Money in the Bank, so that's official. Braun and Sami Zayn.
I think that I don't know. The issue becomes that if Sami Zayn, so for instance, I think that Braun is more than capable and ready to have any type of title. Quite frankly, in the right program, he could probably become a world champion already. If you really want to strap the rocket to him. But I think that I don't know what else at this point you're gonna do with Sammy if he doesn't have that IC title. Are you gonna, Oh, you have an idea? Let's hear it.
Go ahead.
Put your fingers up.
Oh,
The-
really?
Back in
honorary,
the
the honorary
old
Oos.
bloodline.
Honorary
Ooh.
Oos. I don't know. I feel like there
Huh.
could be some way to like, because like I know it's kind of silly, but people would pop for that.
That
Like,
was
people-
yeah,
that
for
was
sure.
during peak bloodline, bro. Like
Yeah.
you had
If
Roman
he-
come out with the 2 titles, both the Usos, Sami Zayn, and Paul Heyman. They all
Even
come
if-
out.
even if he's not like in any sort of match, find some way to like shoehorn him into that story once
Yeah.
things really start heating up and the Usos and Roman are involved again. But you're right. It's like if Braun beats him for the title, what else can Sammy do here? Sammy's been on
Honestly, Sammy has the title right now, but in all reality, what else does he do than come out to the ring, walk around like this, and go with his
Yeah.
mic, yell for a few seconds, and then says,
Yeah.
"You have a match," and then wins with a haluva kick.
Right.
Like
he's a good yeller.
he's a good
He's
yeller,
a good wrestler.
and he
too.
gets
he's
him
good.
hyped up.
Sami Zayn's good. There's nothing wrong with
No,
Sami
yeah,
Zayn.
he
but
puts on a great match. I think he has a really good energy to him, but I feel like they're not doing much with him other than he was the underdog, he won the title, and now he's just continuing to win, and that's it.
this
It's
is the
like
best
stagnant.
he's like. This is like the best he's been booked in WWE. I think.
Yeah.
You think
more-
better than the Owens tag team that main evented WrestleMania?
Oh no, okay. No. Okay, I'd put that above that. But like this is like
Yeah.
the last few
Singles.
years. I'll say this.
Yeah.
He's been on like a pretty decent run.
Yeah.
So I'd hate to see him come down from that, but I really like don't see him winning against Braun Breaker unless they pull some shitty WWE disqualification bullshit.
Low key, I almost want Braun to like destroy him like instantly. Although the two could have like a banger match, and I know there'll be mad people online who are like, "You buried Sammy, you fuckers," whatever.
Yeah.
I think that like there is something cool about the guy just comes in, boom, you're done. I'm the
Yeah.
fucking shit now, like
Yeah,
that sort of thing. Again, I don't think Sammy would lose too much from that. This is all fantasy booking garbage, but like, I don't know. I think that's interesting. I think Sammy, what he's doing with the Alpha Academy, or what he was doing with them, I don't know if they're really continuing that anymore, was really interesting. And, trying to turn Otis against Gable and all that type of thing. I think that doing more character storylines with him, if he doesn't have the title, just involve him in interesting programs. I don't know if he has to be a guy, like you said, coming out screaming, pointing at nothing, and then being like,
Yeah.
"I want to fight Braun Breaker."
Yeah.
Dude, no one wants to fight Braun Breaker.
True. Yeah,
I
that's
sure
true.
don't. If I was Sammy, I would have shut that. No thanks.
We'll keep cooking with Raw here. Speaking of cooking,
Ooh.
things are still getting heated up between Liv Morgan and Judgment Day, including a giant plate of chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
loved it so much. He had a giant plate.
So much so that someone on Twitter was like, "Those nuggets are dry. You ain't got sauce for them." And Liv like retweeted it and was like, "They're never dry" or something like that.
Yeah. I saw that.
God. So now what I'm starting to notice now is on Raw, Dominic's like, no, I don't want that. Like, I don't want any of that. But on social media, he's like reposting her shit and being like
Yeah.
drooling emojis and
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like we don't all fucking see it.
yeah.
You're,
There,
Ugh.
I don't know if you saw, there was an interesting thread on Twitter. Somebody was talking about how Dom has been secretly, messing with her this whole time. like in terms of like he's been hooking up with her this whole time, and he's just been trying to hide it from the Judgment Day, which I guess is like the storyline maybe. But there's a bunch of interesting, weird little things that happen. Like them walking out of rooms one after each other, and like doing like the why he had her what was it? Her hotel card in the first place. Was that just explained by the fact that she landed on him and then maybe like put it on him?
She gave it to him on Raw.
Oh, okay.
She was like, "Here, I want you to take this."
Right.
And he got it. That's my Liv Morgan voice. Apparently, I keep doing that.
Yeah.
Wait, do it again. Do it again.
I want you to take this, Dom.
It's amazing.
Here you go, Dom.
Oh, she's right here.
Daddy Dom.
Okay, you can stop like any time probably. Anytime.
But yeah, so
it is Pride Day.
we were in the little Judgment Day clubhouse, and they're all sitting there they've got 2K24 on the screen. Finn and JD are playing, and fucking Damian walks in and he's like, "What's all this shit?" And he's like, "They're gifts from Liv." And he's like, "No, she's fucking with you. Like, no, you can't keep accepting these and all this stuff." And then Dom gets a text on his phone and he's like, "Whoa." And then he shows it to Damian and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then they all look and Carlito goes, "That's cool."
Yeah.
Dude, the masculine urge to get a picture on your phone from the girl
for real.
Hey guys, look at this.
Look at her tits. They're huge. Look at them. I wonder, what are we supposed to think? How severe are we supposed to think that photo was? Are we supposed to think that was a full-blown nude? Are we supposed to think that was
like that's what I thought immediately. Like I thought it was that, but then they referred to it as a text, so maybe it's just like
I was gonna say
spicy text. I don't know.
That almost changes things. If like they all see she's like going to that extent and she's not just like pulled out my zipper, like it's like more like that type of shit, then I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're Dom, the distraction's already there. Like I don't know what they're really necessarily worried about.
Yeah.
You already have a girl sending you nudes. I don't know.
She's also not only a distraction to Dom, though, because later on in the show, Damian goes back to the clubhouse and he opens the door. Liv walks out and only Finn is sitting in there. So something's a little sus here.
Yes.
Unless, hypothetically, it had something to do with the thing that happened at the end of the night. The tag team titles.
That is true.
R-Truth and Miz, that match?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Could have been that. Could have been something completely different. It's all very vague. Finn is next below Dominic in Liv Morgan communication. He's right below.
I know.
Yeah.
In frequency of communication.
So let's hop to that now. Well, we did get new World Tag Team Champions. JD and Finn took them. And yeah, Liv Morgan helped out, took him from R-Truth and Miz. Basically, Liv set up this match by tricking R-Truth.
So fucked up.
Yeah.
This vulnerable man, and she manipulated him into setting up a tag match with Adam Pearce, and they took him right from him.
This is gold, man.
Yes.
This is, it's so good. Like, again, we'll revisit this at the end. By the way, shout out Michael Cole for holding it down on commentary for
the entire show.
But at the end, Liv Morgan helps them get the championships. They're out there, they're holding the titles, and the line to close out the show says, "Could Liv Morgan be the Judgment Day's Yoko Ono?"
I know, I love that. That was fire.
I was screaming, dude.
I know. That was awesome.
I was wailing. It was insane. Sorry, I'm looking at Liv Morgan's Twitter.
You're getting distracted now.
Oh my god, she's got to you now?
Yeah, that's crazy.
She's gonna be in Boston on Monday, guys. Come on.
I'm gonna be there.
I'm flying back up.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm trying to go too. But
Section 302.
all right, I'll see you there.
Yeah.
She said it's a picture of her and Zelina, and she
Mhm.
says, "If Daddy Dom is sloppy seconds, I will have thirds, fourths, fifths, and sixths."
Oh, Christ.
Oh my god.
I think I've been on the train of like custody of Dom match when Rhea's back.
Yeah.
But the more this goes on, I'm like, Rhea's just gonna mollywop both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't even think she wants custody of Dom.
No, she's just gonna fucking disown that man.
Yeah.
Well, she
Yeah.
already was like a couple times. She kind of like he seems very afraid of her, and like there are like a couple of times where like she does like say like you fucked up, and she kind of chastises him. There already is like this like weird
A
feeling that
rift.
a rift kind of growing between the two of them. Real quickly, what I'll say about the Awesome Truth and Judgment Day match was it was funny to me. Something I noticed is 20 years ago, that Liv Morgan spot would have been either a skirt getting pulled up, or it would have been a kiss, or it would have been. But now the which it's I have no problem with the fact that they're not doing that shit anymore. But it's just
Yeah.
very funny to me that now the male
standard.
allure, is like a hug.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Oh man, poor R-Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like when Rhea comes back.
Oh yeah.
I think it works too, because it's like Rhea comes back, she's the baby face. She
Mhm.
takes on Liv as the heel, maybe with Dominic in her corner, and then people can still hate Dom. People are still gonna hate Dom either way. They're gonna
Yeah.
boo him out of the arena.
Yeah.
So
Are they ever going to turn him face, you think?
I
In
don't
what
think it'll
scenario?
work at this point.
Yeah.
I have yet to think of any kind of scenario where people won't boo him. Like they do not let that man talk,
Yeah.
Yeah, no. They
and
don't.
it's great.
Yeah. But you have to turn Ray like mega ultra heel against
I don't know.
him?
Has Ray even ever been heel in his career? Maybe like early on, but
No,
like,
Maybe in WCW.
Yeah,
WCW,
WCW, yeah. But
but I don't think at all in
Yeah.
WWE. I don't think he's ever been
Yeah.
a heel. So I don't know.
yeah, Judgment Day continuing to be a main point of Raw, and I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. The other main point of Raw that we got, more Wyatt 6 stuff.
Mhm.
So after the qualifying match with Chad Gable, he qualifies. Screen starts to go crazy. Fog comes out. Nikki Cross crawls out from under the ring. Crawls
Well, we
up
don't know if
behind
that's her
him.
name right now.
Oh,
We
so
don't know-
sorry, so
Yeah,
sorry.
what's her name?
His sister Abigail crawls out
Yeah.
and crawls into the ring, and Chad Gable shits himself, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he leaves. And then she's got this box, and what's in the box? She brings it over to Michael Cole, leaves it on there. It says, "This is for Pat." It's addressed to Pat McAfee, and I don't really understand why it was addressed to Pat.
I was
Because-
I was
gonna
gonna
say
say
the
I
same thing.
didn't even pick up on that.
The only thing I can think of was on his show, they had some like Wyatt 6 shit happen where like the power went out one day, and then the other day it said you lied at the end of it,
Mhm.
and that was the same day as this. But overall, it really has nothing to do with Pat McAfee, at least right now.
Did Pat make some inference about any of this situation, like when it first started? Like
I'm not sure.
I can't say I'm a keen observer enough
Yeah,
to know like what did he lie about. I don't
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Either.
I did just send, by the way, in regards to Wyatt 6 in this little group chat. You guys want to put it up? They released like this like weird acrostic type bullshit again. They have a Twitter page. The Wyatt 6 is on social media, and they posted this weird acrostic thing, which someone fixed it, and it says, "Do you think you are special?" So I don't know what that means. And then they posted a poll, yes or no. So they're trying to
Yes or
farm
no.
social media engagement. The Wyatt 6.
That's crazy. And this is like confirmed, like them.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
Weird.
Very weird.
I don't
Well,
know.
do you? I think I'm pretty special.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
special.
me too. I'd
I'm a
agree.
special boy.
Hell
That's
yeah.
me.
Absolutely. Mommy says so when she gives me my chicken
Mommy
tendies.
So yeah, the box gets opened up by Michael Cole. He opens it up. There's a VHS tape in there, and he's like, "Well, I don't know how the fuck we're gonna play this, but we'll figure it out." And he brings it to the truck. Later on in the show, it gets played, and bro, let me tell you, this was a damn good segment. This fucking interview. So we had an interview. The footage was an interview between Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy. Aren't they the same person? Kind of, but not really.
Crazy.
And we got a new version of Bo Dallas where he's literally just Taylor Rotunda. Like, he is himself. And the interview, they're talking about Bray, and they're talking about his feelings, and it was just set up so well.
Crazy that they are acknowledging that, like, they are the same person. Him and Uncle Howdy. Because, I mean, I guess they kind of did that with Bray, but in the same way, we also knew it from the start. Whereas Uncle Howdy, when he debuted like 2 years ago, people kind of speculated it was Bo Dallas, but like we got confirmation. And I think they're just like playing into the fact that everyone knows, especially because they had the whole documentary and that like officially I think was WWE's confirmation that it is Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very cool. It was probably like 5 or 6 minutes long. It was a really good segment, and just kind of like one of those like we'll show you, don't come to school tomorrow type type memes. They're gonna kill everybody, dude. It's gonna be so awesome.
It's gonna be really cool. What I wonder about is like, are they gonna do like a Nexus type thing where they just go destroy everyone and then the individual members kind of go off on their own feuds and their own, like, where do you go with this group as a collective fighting force? Like who are they up against?
Not making the same mistakes that Nexus did too.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, we got this segment, but it didn't involve anyone else other than Bo Dallas. So it's kind of hard. It's going to be one of those things that we just got to wait and see and hope and pray that they do it the right way, which I have a feeling they will. Like I have a good feeling about this, and regardless, it's all like a love letter to Bray and everything he wanted to do. So
I saw a tweet the other day, and it was rage bait, like not rage bait, but it was just engagement farming. And it was like, do you think Bo Dallas should be world champion? No. Don't give this group any gold, bro. Like supernatural stuff. It's like the shit with The Undertaker, right? Like The Undertaker has even said, like in interviews, he was like, bro, that character doesn't need a title. The Undertaker does not need a title. He's the fucking Undertaker.
Why would he want one? What does he give a shit about your gold? Your plastic looking belt.
And it's the same with the Wyatt Six. Like, they're here to massacre liars. They're not going to be like, oh, also I'll have that world championship. I like the color. It looks nice on me. Like, no.
That's very like outrage. That's a very outrageous take.
Yeah.
That just makes no sense. And I have seen that. I just keep scrolling. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
It's so dumb.
But I get, engagement farming. I guess I understand it.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there's any particular reason that they showed Chad Gable got shot in the head or whatever by them?
Well, and that also seems to be who they're targeting. They came out after his match too. And then even one of the teasers that they posted had CG in it. So like, I think if they're talking about, if they're focusing on like, oh, you lied or you betrayed people, like he's the most apparent one right now because all the shit with Alpha Academy.
They're like vigilantes. It's giving, what the fuck was it called? A Watchman. It's like
yeah.
A strange comparison to make.
I love it.
No, I don't know. Like, you know what I think is gonna happen? Probably we're gonna get a segment with like Chad Gable in his locker room, and he's like about to make amends with the Alpha Academy and then the lights go down and the room fills with fog, and then you just see like a hand emerge from the darkness and it just goes, Shorty G.
Cinema. That is cinema. Right?
Cinema,
Scorsese.
baby.
Oh, beautiful.
I think that's how it's gonna go.
I would love it. Like the Boogeyman with Booker T, where he would just like randomly, a room would become red and filled with
Yeah,
smoke.
I think this is just like they're just here for Chad Gable. They don't want anybody else. And
Yeah.
then they're gonna be off TV for like a year.
Yeah.
Just want to make Chad Gable think about what he did.
I'm
and
fine
force
with
him
that.
back into the Shorty G gimmick.
Hell yeah. Let's bring back Shorty G. That's so
nothing
funny.
Wrong with it at all.
Nope. Get cucked so hard by the Wyatt Six that you get
After signing his new deal.
yeah.
After SmackDown, after all the shit that happened on SmackDown with Jacob Fatu debuting and all the stuff with the Bloodline, and we have Cody and RKO and all that stuff. We actually got confirmation as a match card promo. We're gonna have a 6-man tag at Money in the Bank.
Ooh.
So we're gonna have Cody and RKO facing Solo, Tamatonga, and Tongaloa. And also Jacob Fatu was on there too. So is it gonna be a 3-on-4?
I saw that too. I was very, very confused about who in that group is actually going to be fighting in that match. It's called a 6-man. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Find a way to make it an 8-man. But I mean, regardless, he's gonna play some kind of role in that match. Because that man, when he showed up, had more aura than any of those new Bloodline members had in the last like 2 months.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and also tonight, at Madison Square Garden, they have the Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony. But they're also pushing MSG to be like a huge show tonight. Like they've been talking about it.
Yeah, it's Madison
at
Square Garden.
Yeah, it's there. So like obviously it is big regardless, but the way they've been talking about it, I'm wondering if something big is gonna go down.
Huh. I wouldn't be surprised. I definitely would not be surprised by that. Especially because on SmackDown so much wacky shit has been going down recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both shows, like SmackDown and Raw, man, they've been cooking.
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
Did you guys get a chance to watch NXT?
I did.
Are you an NXT watcher, Joe?
I love NXT. This particular week was this week. I'm so bad with this shit.
Yeah.
This week wasn't the Battle Royale, which
no, that was last week.
Week. No, I did not see it this week. I'm sorry to let you down, gentlemen.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
I do know a great deal about it, though. I just didn't watch it this week.
Nothing crazy on NXT, but
we gotta point out the fan thing.
Yeah. So I am pissed. I'm mad.
We got clowned on.
I clowned us, really, because
yeah, you did.
I brought up to Galeer 2 episodes ago. I was like, on NXT, they had this weird moment where it looked like a fight in the crowd, where like 2 guys got into a scuffle, and the entire crowd was looking that way. And it was when Wes and Obafemi were in the ring doing a promo. And they were cutting away from it. And they were not showing it. And all this shit.
You saw Obafemi kind of like...
Yeah, they were all like, oh, what the fuck's going on over there? And then the week before that, Vic Joseph, it comes back from commercial. And Vic Joseph was like, oh, sorry, we had something weird happen here. I'm like, God damn it. So we talked about it, but I cut it out because I didn't think it was that important. And like, we barely covered it because I was like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but this. I cut it out.
You.
And then on NXT this week, during the main event,
someone comes out. So we're doing Trick versus Sean Spears, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And towards the last 2 minutes of the match, they're like on the outside or whatever. And then, someone appears to come out of the crowd and like try to attack Trick and Sean Spears, and they got like security restraining him, and he's like fighting them off. And like they worked this so well. they worked it so well. Trick and Sean Spears just kept going as if, as they would on TV if something like that was happening. So naturally you're like, oh shit, like, but in the same vein, it was on camera enough for you to be like, okay, like this is definitely a work.
Right.
Like at this point. So the guy's like fighting off the security. You can't really tell who it is. And then he takes the announce table like cover and whacks Trick with it. And then that gives Sean Spears the advantage, and he goes in the ring, does his finisher, and wins the match.
Awesome.
But they were like, what the hell just happened? They don't really say like a guy came out of the crowd. They were just like, something just happened.
Yeah.
But like we all saw what happened. It was presumably like they're working it like a guy came out of the crowd, and so I don't know if this is just the same guy who somehow in kayfabe like keeps getting into the building, or like if it's like multiple people. You said it earlier about something else, but I think this is like feels a lot like Retribution,
where they're like fucking with stuff,
except it's not like dudes in
Hacker Man.
Like, yeah, right, exactly. So they're doing a really good job with it. It's so much so that we cut out a segment.
I was so mad, man.
Well, also like again because they're just playing it off so well, like
right. You got work, Justin. You got work.
I did.
Well, it's also one of those things where it's like usually when stuff like that happens and they like it's part of the storyline, it's just a lot more obvious, and it's like, oh, like Santino. That's a good example. Santino's debut, like he was just some guy in the crowd who got a shot at the Intercontinental Championship and won.
Right.
Which is still legendary to this day.
It's awesome.
But this is different.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And
yeah.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
I think they're just getting wise to the fact that a lot of, I imagine most of the people who are watching NXT are whatever smart wrestling fans or whatever you want to call them. So I think that they might be just getting wise to, I mean, they've done this in the past where they've done the fake X symbol that, where they do that when someone gets injured. They do like the fake X symbol if it's part of the match. I think they're getting wise to the fact that people know parts about the business and they kind of know how certain things operate to exploit that.
They're like switching it up and
it's awesome. I think it's so cool. That's the only way you can
making them look stupid.
Yeah,
making us look stupid.
Yeah, I fell for it. I'm a dumbass. Oh,
well, because I remember you were like, oh yeah, I think it's like you were right. You were like, oh, it's storyline, and I was like, yeah, but like they didn't really draw like attention to it. So like it's not like I was like, nah, and you were like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So
and I felt dumb because I didn't know like enough about it, and I saw a post like someone thought they knew who it was, and I was like, I don't know, but I didn't remember the name, and then I was like, I'm just gonna cut this part out because I tried pausing
and like I tried pausing and seeing who the guy was, and I couldn't make out who it was.
Yeah.
At first, it looked like I don't know if you know Nick Camarado. He was in AEW. Just a really hairy dude, big hairy dude. But
Anthony Go-Go, right? He was friends with him.
Yeah, he was in that little faction with like QT Marshall.
Where they fixed racism, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep. So yeah, but I couldn't get a good enough look. So next week I'm sure we'll have another development, and it'll be the go home show before Heatwave. Which Heatwave, by the way, we're getting a fatal 4-way match, I guess.
Yeah, and that was what we didn't want last week when we were talking about NXT. We're getting a fatal 4-way between Ethan Page, Sean Spears, Trick Williams, and who?
Javon Evans. You know
He'll
what?
win that probably.
What?
Javon Evans, you think?
I think they really like the kid. I don't know. In my head, they just always want to go for like the shock win in some of those situations.
I do think NXT does that a lot, but I would say if Javon Evans wins it, I think he should win it like one-on-one against Trick.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, I like fatal 4-ways, especially NXT does them pretty good when they do multi-man matches, so I think it'll be good. But I really want to see them go one-on-one, so that's why I think Trick retains, and then build Javon Evans a little bit more and then they can finally like have that one-on-one that they originally had wanted.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm curious. What do you? He's like 20, I think.
Jesus Christ.
He's very young, which I think would make him the youngest NXT champion. I want to say.
It would have to be, right?
Oh, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia. I don't think.
I know. I'm looking him up too. I'm trying to find out how fucking old he is.
21.
Oh yeah, he's a kid.
Yeah, so I think he would be the youngest. I don't know how old Trick is though.
Trick might be in like his 30s.
Trick is 30. Yeah.
Yeah. Trick is definitely older.
But I was curious. What's your opinion on Ethan Page?
I haven't yet. He to me has the. I'm trying to think of another good example. He's essentially a guy who seems like he knows what he's doing, and he seems like he's good at what he does, but he's very, very boring, to me at least. I don't. I don't really know why I would care about him. He doesn't do anything particularly. He's not a flippy guy. He's not like super strong.
There's like not one like prominent like quality about him.
Yeah, exactly. Javon Evans, I could say flippy guy. Trick Williams, I could say charisma. Yeah,
and he's also very athletic.
Very athletic too. Yeah, exactly. Ethan Page, kind of just a guy who's been wrestling for a while, is probably a white guy who's just exactly. You need one white guy in that match, I guess.
They just keep like throwing him into this. Like they threw him. He made his debut, and they threw him right in the main title picture, and then he lost. And now they're like making a case for him. Like I never got eliminated from the Battle Royal, so you got to put me in this match. And Shawn Spears, I honestly could understand a little bit more. I think he's kind of down there with Ethan Page, but Shawn Spears feels like he has a quality that's like a little, like, something about him's a little bit more memorable than Ethan Page. Whether it's the look, people also remember him as Ty Dillinger, so like that's part of it. And like when he was in AEW, he had a pretty significant like role as like in the like Pinnacle stable. So like, but I think Ethan Page is just like, it's just dull to me.
To me, he's almost I'm an interrupting cow. No, dude, I apologize.
I don't give a shit.
Good. So I'll keep doing it forever.
Okay. Good.
No, I think I would almost put him in. And this might be a hot take with like Alexis King, Brian Pillman Jr. I understand he's a good wrestler. I understand it's cool that he's Brian Pillman's kid. I understand, he's athletic, but again,
he's nobody's junior. Remember
forgot.
Nobody's junior.
No, pardon me. Hey, listen, I'm not perfect. Hey, cinema. I'm not perfect.
Cinema.
I think, there's just those guys that are kind of just there and who exist. For me, for the longest time, Baron Corbin was one of those guys. Just happens to be breathing.
What a way of putting it.
I know that's a bit odd, I suppose, but I don't know. I if they get him into an interesting feud or a promo or an angle or something like that, then maybe I could see him doing something substantive. But until that point, I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't agree with throwing him right into the big matches.
Yeah, it's they're just pushing him to be. Like, they're, like, expecting you to think he's this massive star, but he doesn't really have that much to show for it. Like,
and again, like, I popped when he showed up because it was like, oh, Ethan Page, cool. Like, I know who that is. But that doesn't mean everyone else does.
Yeah. Right. So more stuff from NXT. We have a little bit more of a feud between Lola Vice and Roxanne heating up here. So Lola...
Where my Lola at?
Lola like beats the shit out of Roxanne and then takes the title and brings it to Ava's office and leaves it on the table. And she's like, hey, when she wakes up, tell her I took it. And then she walks away. And then Roxanne comes in later and goes, I knew you were in on it, Ava. And Ava's like, shut the fuck up. I didn't take your title.
Poor Ava. Poor Ava's just like...
Bro, every episode is just Ava sitting there going...
That's just like every general manager though.
Yeah.
Literally, they're dealing with a fucking like daycare.
Yeah, but she's got
Yeah.
like all the young kids who are like fucking crazy, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh,
Right. Doesn't
You
want to
know?
deal with them.
yeah. But it's good stuff there, and then we're getting Sol Ruka versus Kalani Jordan, baby.
That could be epic.
I'm a
That could be
Sol
pretty
Ruka
good.
simp, so
Yeah.
I also am a Sol Ruka simp. I don't think she's gonna get the title yet though.
Nah.
Too soon.
agree.
Especially after just getting the, the first
Right.
crowning the first champion. But they're gonna kill it. Kalani Jordan rules.
Yeah.
She's
Sol Ruka
awesome.
rules. They're both like the thing about NXT is that at this point it's just all like D1 college athletes that they're
Right.
recruiting, and so they're all fucking insane at
Yeah.
everything.
Me
I
too,
used to be annoyed by it. I was like, okay, like, they're all being recruited from college, but do they like know wrestling? Do they know how to work? Like,
Right.
do they want to work?
Right, yeah. That's something I've been shocked by watching all these NIL guys and gals come in. It's like I'm shocked by the fact that if you didn't know that they weren't wrestlers before, if they were just like college athletes, I don't know if you would know that they were. Like, there's nothing about them. They seem just like their characters that they build up for the most part.
Yeah.
Their athleticism, just the way they work.
yeah.
I will say the only thing I have noticed, and this might just be the modern wrestling style because I'm a grumpy old man, but 90% of that class, I should say 80, 90's too high, is flippy people. And I guess it's hard to like when you're like a gymnast or when you're like wicked athletic, you're like, I can do backflips and I can like do all this cool shit. Like, why wouldn't I? But like, I do wonder if there's like almost like too much of that where like every match on the card is that, and I wonder if that dilutes it overall. I could be totally off base, but
Then we get people like Ethan Page who are not flippy and they're boring. So it's like you need the good middle ground. But you're right, where I could agree where a lot of the people are very flippy and they're trying to do all these big spots every match.
which are enjoyable, by the way.
Oh yeah, I love
I think
watching
it's
it.
extremely entertaining. It's just, I do wonder if there becomes a point of diminishing returns where it's just, you're like, yes, I've seen that, top rope poison Rana into a Canadian destroyer already. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I wonder.
They make it interesting over there though, because you don't see them as often.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
when,
true.
When someone in WWE pulls out like it's like Sammy with the brain buster to Gunther at WrestleMania, like
That was awesome.
And because I don't think you've ever seen anyone do that in WWE.
No,
At
absolutely
least not in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't think that was even a considerable option for a move 20 years ago.
Oh yeah,
So like things like that, like they make it
definitely.
feel special with how few and far between they are.
Yeah.
Same with Kevin Owens. He's recently started doing some like weird
package
top
pile
rope.
driver shit, or no?
It's like the package pile driver, but he's also doing some like top rope brain buster type of thing. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
I don't. It's some wild thing where like he fly and somehow like he did it to somebody, and I'm forgetting who it is, through a bunch of chairs.
Oh,
like, had a bunch
is
of
it like
chairs
some
set
kind of
up?
driver?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. It's like is it like a fisherman suplex driver or something like that?
Something. It looks insane. It's so cool. It's just
Yeah.
like, to your point, like you would like they pile drivers themselves were banned for like 15 years or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, well, I think they're still kind of
Yeah, it's true. Actually,
dodgy about them.
Joe, you're not a huge AEW fan from what I'm
And hang on,
Getting
and
here.
before you say anything, that's totally okay.
Yeah,
It is
very
totally
much okay.
to have. Guess what? It's super okay to have differing opinions in wrestling. It's crazy.
I want your take on AEW in general, and then we'll start getting into Dynamite and some of the stuff. But
yeah,
we've been kind of it sucks because AEW is good.
It's been bad.
Yeah.
It's been bad. Let's just fucking call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of It's for the most part, more or less, it has sucked.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling about
Yeah,
it. And
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Justin.
Yeah, I was gonna say AEW is good overall for the business, right? Like competition's good and all this shit. But the past like 4 episodes, we've kind of been shitting on it because there are problems and there's a lot of stuff going on. And we have Forbidden Door on Sunday, and we are both feeling very iffy about Forbidden Door. Whereas the last Forbidden Doors, we were like, oh, this shit fucks. Like it was good. So I want your take on what's going on over there and how you feel about the product in general, I guess.
For sure. So I mean, I think I'll start off by saying that I absolutely agree that the fact it exists is terrific for the business, and I think that it should continue to exist for an extremely long time. You know, it's not something that I will probably watch regularly. And I'll say when it first debuted, you have to remember when it first debuted, it was like right after maybe Kofi Mania. I'm not sure. It was one of the two. And wrestling was like in WWE was still kind of stale and kind of boring. There wasn't really much interest, and I was an enormous AEW fan at that point. I was super excited because up to that point, I hadn't really watched any New Japan. I'd only seen cursory Ring of Honor and TNA stuff. So like a lot of that type of thing I had not been exposed to before, and I was extremely into it. I think if I had to pinpoint one moment that kind of soiled it for me is I got some friends over who they're like wrestling fans. They know about it, but I wouldn't say that they're like, and
they just watch it with you because it's like fun.
Exactly. I don't think. Yeah,
that's like all my other friends that I watch wrestling with.
On their own, I don't think that they would ever go and watch any of it. I'm dragging them actually on Monday to Raw.
Hell yeah.
So like that's
that'll be fun though. That's gonna be sick.
Oh yeah, no, I'm very excited. I think if I had to bookend one moment, I'm trying to remember the pay-per-view. It was still during Corona, I want to say. The exploding barbed wire deathmatch fiasco.
Revolution.
Yeah.
Revolution 2021, baby.
Exactly. I sold it to my friends as this match is fuck, it's crazy. The shit exploding barbed wire.
I did the same exact fucking thing as you.
And then you got clowned on.
And then we saw the 4th of July in like Libya, and we were like, on the stage, and we were like, well, this is kind of not great. And yeah, I wondered. I still watched a little bit. I think if I had to pinpoint 2 things I don't like about it, it's honestly, and this is a very old man thought, but the no selling thing really fucking irritates me. You can, take 3 Canadian destroyers through a chair and through a table, and then
like kip up right after.
Yeah, exactly. A poison Rana through like a flaming barbed wire bat, and you're just gonna be like, no, fucking one-winged angel.
Yeah.
I think that I hate.
I understand it. There's a lot of like wrestling in itself has just a lot of weird quirks about it that just like don't make sense. But then like when you look at AEW and kind of that, I'll say like genre of wrestling where they no sell shit and they do all these like high spots, getting cheap pops for lack of a better way to say it.
Right.
Cheap pops in a spot fest, as the Twitter people would say.
IWC.
The IWC.
Basement.
I think when it gets redundant, it's not good. And unfortunately, it does get redundant over there. Shit like that reminds me of like a fucking like anime fight sequence.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting.
There's only like so much of that you can like take, I think, at once.
Yeah.
Right.
And pacing and whatnot is super important and not necessarily something that's always accounted for, I feel like. Or I guess their idea of pacing might be different. I don't know what the process is behind that, but I agree with you in that way. And remember when the super kick was just the sweet chin music?
Yeah, right.
And only Shawn Michaels did it and ended matches with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's like a normal. It's like you're playing 2K and you hit square and it's a super kick.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's your basic strike move.
The super kick party, I believe, is even a term that is used by one Young Bucks.
Yeah, it's true. but yeah, I totally get what you're saying. That specific match was definitely a low point for me too. Like, didn't turn me off because a lot of good stuff came after that.
That was
'Cause,
before
like,
I started watching AEW.
Yeah.
This guy was trying to get me to watch AEW for like 2 years.
years.
And then
Well, 'cause
and
I
then
also
I just
I
didn't.
also like I started watching when they first aired on TNT. Like,
too, yeah.
I was in my college dorm room, literally
Same here.
fucking
Mm.
watching it with my roommates. So,
Yep.
you know, so, but yeah, that things that they've definitely like changed a lot since they've started, in a bunch of different ways. But we have a lot of gripes with the booking right now.
There's too many
Yeah.
damn people. There's too many damn people. And I think in regards to all the no selling and all that stuff, I'll just cap that by saying that, like, I don't really care. It's not like I'm like, oh, you're hurting the business or some garbage like that. I think it's more just like, if I am trying to have any sort of semblance of oh god, I fucked the word. What's the word where you like forget what you're watching isn't real?
Immersion.
Immersion, yeah, sure. Like any any sense of immersion or any sense of that type of thing in wrestling, it's just, I don't know, you need, especially as you get older and you become more of a Redditor or Twitter or whatever, and you're just like reading constantly about the secrets behind it. Like, you just need that little extra. I don't know. And I would just say, yeah, the roster for the amount of shows that they have, and it's just it's too many fucking people.
We have these, we do have a lot of people, and we have like these overlapping, intermingling stories, but it's starting to become like a red web where nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
And someone actually commented today and was like, oh, I like the overlapping stories. It makes it feel connected. And to a point, I get that. But also, you can have too many connections where stuff just starts to not happen. Take the fucking MCU, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like, the evolution of the Marvel movies, like, you had 5 movies that you could watch alone, and then eventually led to the Avengers, and it happened a few times, like, in different phases. But then they started adding in TV shows, and then they started adding in fucking all this other side stuff, and now it's just this jumbled mess where you need to read a fucking article to understand what's happening in one movie. And I think what's happening with the booking right now in Forbidden Door, for example, something that happened with Will Ospreay, MJF, Daniel Garcia, and Swerve, even. We can throw Swerve in there. We had this thing this week where MJF comes out and he calls out Daniel Garcia and he's like, hey man, you've been doing such a good job. I want to challenge you at Wembley. And then Will Ospreay comes out and he's like, no, I'm going to challenge you at Wembley for the international title. Or no, he's like, for the international title next week. And they're like, okay. And then MJF's like, all right, focus on that. I don't care about Wembley. And then he leaves.
Right.
And it's like, just all this other random shit that keeps happening. And like, I went on a rant about this last week where Will Ospreay defended 2 times in a row against people that walked up, said, I'm mad, I want a title match. And he goes, okay. And then they just have a random title match. And you have all these intermingling like characters and stories where nothing makes sense anymore. And it's just starting to cause a big disconnect all over the place.
Right. No, I totally agree. I think from what I have seen, because I do follow it still a good amount, I think, for instance, MJF coming back and he's challenging Daniel Garcia. I don't know why the fuck he would care to challenge him unless there's some other story that I don't really understand. You know, I don't know why he wouldn't try to challenge him, these other, you know, guys. Why not challenge Swerve? You know, why not like try to get in a feud with it? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
I think that there comes an issue like when you're like, oh, I want to challenge you for like the international title next week or whatever on Dynamite. I think the issue that they're starting to run into is that they're kind of, because even if it doesn't matter from the perspective of the networks that they're working on, the public perception when you pop a good rating is like very important. I feel like almost for the morale of like the people who are kind of just like peripherally interested in the product. So like when you're every week booking to pop a rating, the issue becomes that you can't, there comes a point where you can't top yourself anymore. You know, that was like the meme where Tony Khan was making a big announcement every single day.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. I wonder like where, because I guess the other thing is like, I think that so much of what they do is really interesting and cool, and some of their stories are really good. I was one of the only people that did kind of enjoy that like Hangman Swerve bloodbath match. I did watch that.
Oh, Galeer was
like
too. Galeer is a Swerve and Hangman fucking stand, dude. He one of the. I mean, I am too. There was a point where I didn't watch AEW as much, and even before I started watching, and I saw that match between Swerve and Hangman, and I fucking loved it. Like, and I saw even the build-up they did before the match, like with the vignettes and shit. I was like, this is fucking sick. Like, I can get behind this story, and I haven't even seen that much of it.
Right. You know, totally. I just wonder, I don't know, I wonder what else you can do that's kind of compelling and interesting like that on a weekly basis that isn't Will Ospreay's getting challenged for the international title or Hangman's drinking Swerve's blood. You know, like I wonder like what the point of just like interesting booking, what is WWE doing where their storylines are compelling enough and kind of interesting enough where you don't need someone falling off the top of a building every week.
They have it's like in WWE the characters matter more than the titles.
Yeah.
Almost.
Right.
But then here it's so title based, and they have so many titles where they're just like they make the title the main point of it.
It's so title based and it's so wrestling based.
Yeah.
Like it's like New Japan but with actual, or I won't say actual because they're not really doing a good job, but attempts at like drama. It's like New Japan wrestling, you know, is the main focus, and then they're trying to like make them mean something. And they did. I will kind of stand by this. They were on a pretty okay run last year up until Adam Cole got injured, and then that whole storyline just is in the toilet. And again, we kept saying like he showed up at Double or Nothing as like a device to bring MJF back when he could have just come back without Adam Cole. Because now it's like, okay, Adam Cole's gone again. What is he going to come back at the pay-per-view again and like fuck up MJF's match, which would probably be the best thing for them to rehash that rivalry.
I definitely think you're right. I think that to me recently, if I had to pinpoint a second time where I was like, I don't really know what's going on here, is I went to Blood and Guts at the Garden when they went to the Garden. That was very fun.
Hell yeah. I wanted to go to that so bad.
Oh, it was sick. It was really fun.
That was last year, right?
Yeah. Yes, I believe so. And I think after that, I was excited too, even though I'm not a huge Japanese wrestling fan. I don't know a ton about it. Like, Kota Ibushi. I've heard so much about this guy. This guy's supposed to be like a god. He's supposed to be the coolest thing ever. And I think the issue is a bunch of these New Japan guys that I've heard so many good things about, like Okada and like Ospreay. They're doing pretty good work from what I understand in AEW, but it's not this like explosive, supremely interesting thing that I thought it would be. It's just not like, okay, he's teaming with the Young Bucks and their heels and he says bitch.
Also, like, another thing is too, especially because now it's Forbidden Door season. Like, they're bringing in, I don't know, like the first couple times they did it, it felt really cool because one, it was the first time, but also it was like I've heard of all these names before, but I've never seen them in action. I don't subscribe, I don't have a subscription to NGPW World, but I've heard of Okada and I've heard of Jay White. He was in New Japan at the time, and like all these names, you know. And I was like, oh my god, they're here, and I can see like what they're all about, and it's hype.
Right.
And now it's gotten to the point where all those dudes have made their rounds through AEW to the point where it's not even like a special occasion anymore. It's like once a month, we get like a New Japan guy coming through, and now we're at the point where this Forbidden Door feels like more of a crossover with CMLL. I've heard of some names over there, but we're at the point where you've almost kind of, to a degree, unless you're like a super hardcore wrestling fan and you watch everything internationally, we've already done the run through of all the names that
Right.
And now it's like, I didn't know who Hechicero was. I don't know who Stephanie Vakor is. I know of like Shingo Takagi and Naito, but they've already been through AEW once before. I'm trying to think of other names, but this one it's just like, now it no longer feels special. They are regulars in AEW, and then the new ones that they are bringing in, I've never heard of before, and they're banking on the audience that has heard of them before, which I don't know what portion of AEW's audience is like this hyper specific, like people that watch wrestling all around the world. I don't know what percentage that is, but I know I'm not in that percentage. And because of that, I like don't really care about what's going on. Even like stripping the story away from any of these matches, I don't know who these people are.
Right.
And that is just like, I don't want to say frustrating, because it's not necessarily frustrating. It's just like, how am I supposed to get hyped for this match if I don't know? MJF had his first match back on TV, and then Hechicero pops up on the TV, and he's like, I'm Hechicero. We're going to have a match at Forbidden Door. And I'm like, cool. Who the fuck are you? I'm excited to see MJF wrestle, but like, why should I care about this?
I think that is a big issue. And sorry, Justin.
No, you're good. You're good.
But, I think it is a big issue for AEW that I think it's good on the one hand if you are, like you said, one of those like just Omega wrestling fans who just like watches everything, consumes everything. I think that the product is perfectly made for you, but I think that they sometimes do a lot of assumptions about, like you have to know storylines and feuds from 10 years ago.
AEW, again, banks on Tony is here for the internet audience.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's totally okay. That's totally fine. But you're going to hurt your product a little bit, because it's like, you can feed us as much information. Wrestling is all about repetition. That's how we get things drilled through our head, is like, if you don't know somebody, you're going to know who they are in maybe 2 weeks of seeing them, because they're just going to tell you everything you need to know about them on commentary. But this is different because they're almost, for the most part, assuming what's like, who this is and what's going on and why this is important, which isn't always the case. I'm going to watch Forbidden Door. It's gonna be, I'm sure it'll be a good show. I'm sure there'll be, like every AEW show, there'll be some twists and turns and announcements or pops or whatever. And also, to speak quickly about the MJF Daniel Garcia thing, because I was in the other room for this. It was cool. It was a cool moment because they're both from New York, and their hometown crowds. Not to diss Garcia, but like, MJF can do a bigger match. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm not diminishing Daniel Garcia, because he's honestly one of my favorite wrestlers there. He's just a lot lower on the card and needs to keep working his way up. If anything, you gotta, put Daniel Garcia in a bigger match than MJF, or not bigger, but like something more on his level. Like, they both just need different opponents, and I feel like this isn't. I don't think we're gonna get that match at all, and I feel like that's not what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, this card, I have the card pulled up as well.
By looking at this real quick, I will say the one big positive from what I have seen in AEW for me is what Tony Storm has been doing.
Yeah.
I think that character is super inventive, super interesting. Reminds me a lot of just old school cool gimmicks that were just different. I really like her song. I think it's really good. If I had to pinpoint one thing, I would say, and they found a way to make Luther useful too, which is nice.
I know. Even Justin was like, "Who's the Butler guy, Luther?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's been here since the beginning. They don't really know what to do with him."
Yeah, the wacky, oh my bullshit.
God. Yeah. I do wanna talk about that a little bit, because on Dynamite this week, we had a really good bit with Mariah May where this whole thing is like, she's torn between Tony and Mina Shirakawa. She doesn't know who to support, who to back. and
Who to kiss.
because she's who to kiss. She's friends with both of them and all this stuff. So she comes out with Toni Storm, does her entrance. They hug, they kiss, and Toni walks to the ring. Then she runs back through the tunnel, and then she comes out with Mina Shirakawa. And Justin Roberts announces again with Mariah May. And but he like questioned it. He's like, with Mariah May? And
That's great.
so she does her dance with her, and then the whole match was Toni being fucking like jealous. She's jealous the whole time. And she's like, tag me. And then she tags Mina, and she's like, and I don't know if you'd noticed this, Galeer, but we had, it was in black and white when it was focusing on Toni. And then Mariah tagged Mina, and then it cut to color again.
Oh wait, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so she tagged Mina right in front of her. Toni made a pissed off face, and then it went back to color, and she's like,
that's great.
God damn it.
Yeah,
it's really great stuff, really creative stuff. And then at the end of this, the seam finally broke here, and Mina goes to hit Toni with the champagne bottle, but Toni dodges and she hits Mariah May, and Toni's like, you son of a bitch. And she's like, no one hits my girl, and all this stuff. And they get into a scuffle. Security comes out and all that.
You think they're gonna like make up, and they have they do a little toast, they do a little dance. Toni's got some dance moves.
Yeah.
And then Mina Shirakawa had to fucking ruin it.
Yeah. It was a tragedy, a whole tragedy. So yeah, I'm really excited for that match. I think that match is gonna fuck. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Mariah May during all of this. Who she finally decides to side with in the end there. And then the other match that is gonna be good but had a questionable build so far is Will Ospreay and Swerve. I don't think we really had a solidified build until last week.
I was gonna, and like this week too was actually like, I really like. I didn't think the Gates of Agony would be able to have a good tag match in the nicest way possible. They've just not done it for me ever.
Yeah.
Who are they? Where do are they Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they were originally the team that Prince Nana was the manager for.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And so, yeah, this match was great. There was a lot of like, it's your typical like two opponents before a pay-per-view team up to watch them like either coexist or fall apart.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we said last time. Like,
yep. And they did it was really good because there were like moments where one of them would go for a move and almost hit the other, and they'd be like, whoa, what the hell are you doing, man? But then there was one point where Swerve goes for a boot while I think Toa Leona had Will Ospreay like held back, and he literally goes for a boot to Will Ospreay's in front of him. So like if Will Ospreay didn't move out of the way, he would have. They were like, did he fully plan on kicking Will Ospreay?
Yeah.
Right.
So there was like some really interesting story points in this match, which I really liked. And then, they get the victory. Obviously, the match ends, and they're standing side by side or face to face, and Will Ospreay does the thing he did a couple weeks ago where he kind of like sneaks the title into his grasp, and then Swerve just fucking knocks him down to his knees and does the house call kick to his face. It was
that
so
kick was fucking brutal.
It's one of my favorite moves.
Yeah.
Wait, so just to quickly clarify again, so I'm not super filled in on this shit. So Will is currently the international champion, but he's trying to become double champ.
And that's one of the problems. That is just
for the world title, and I think it wouldn't be as much of a problem if he held the championship for longer, but he just won it a month ago.
Right.
So that's what has us all like, why does this match need to happen now? I think if anything, and I've been seeing this opinion a lot too on the internet, but like have that match at Wembley and have Will Ospreay win the world title in Wembley. If anything, because let Swerve have his time right now. Let him figure out his shit and make it a good title run. Because it's, this is kind of giving it a little bit more merit. But I hate to say that Will Ospreay is helping this title run feel a little bit more special. But at the
Yeah.
same time, Will Ospreay is very clearly like the guy right now in AEW. I wouldn't even say like even MJF being back hasn't really done it for me a whole lot yet.
Yeah.
Sadly,
I agree.
because we were really excited for him to come back. Will Ospreay feels like the guy. And
his entrance
have
feels so big.
yeah,
Like as
and you have
soon as
this
his
really-
music hits, you have
I think-
and he
I think
jumps out.
people pop more for Ospreay than they do for Swerve
Yeah,
right now.
100%.
And that's kind of like, unfortunately, that's kind of an issue. Like, because you want that reaction for your world champ, and like him winning the title was really good, but then the way they booked him the few weeks after that, like, was just garbage, for lack of a better word. Like,
Right.
Whereas like Will Ospreay is just getting this insane like treatment and respect from the fans, and you would think he's the world champion right now.
Yeah.
But and then you also run into the problem. Sorry, you run into the problem too, where he has a championship already, but does that necessarily feel as important as him? Or do people kind of recognize that he could be in a more important position?
Yeah.
And it just sucks because I still stand by this, but they should have pulled the trigger on Swerve earlier when he had that triple threat match with Samoa Joe and Adam Page.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
I agree.
I think yeah, go for it.
Sorry, I was just gonna quickly say I think that Will Ospreay, like you said, is obviously like super over, super cool, super good. I think that the issue becomes for these pay-per-views when you have them kind of, well, I guess not as infrequently as they used to, kind of when I first started watching it back in 2018 or whatever, but every pay-per-view match has to be a quote-unquote dream match. And I think that because of that, you end up being like, we have to, on this thing where we want to sell as many buys as possible, we want to, put the asses in the seats, all that type of thing. I think you end up being like, well, we have to have Will Ospreay challenge Swerve because that match on paper should bang. And like, I mean, like all these sorts of things, even if from a booking perspective, it makes no sense because he just won another title. It's like, you kind of want the biggest star on the show who gets the most pops, most regularly, most fan interest, because Will Ospreay's been like a gigantic star, even before he was in AEW. I think that it becomes a problem on this show. It would probably have been a better idea. Again, I can't say I know too much about the specific scenario surrounding AEW, but put Ospreay down the card defending the international title.
Yeah.
Have him rack up a couple defenses of that title. Have Swerve go against, I don't know, I get MJF. Like, I don't know. Have him against somebody who's big, who's popping. I don't know.
Or like even a New Japan guy. Like the last 2 years they did MJF versus Tanahashi. Before that, it was like I think it might have been, I don't even remember who was in the first one. But the allure of it, right, is that it's AEW versus New Japan essentially. That was the idea of the first one. Yeah. So like do that again. It was Jon Moxley versus Tanahashi.
Right.
Tanahashi main evented both.
That's awesome.
The thing with this card is like on paper, it's good. It's a good card. And I think a year, 2 years from now, we'll look back at the card and be like, okay, those were good matches. Like they were solid. But the problem is the build around it right now. And it's just, the build is so messy for all of these matches, with the exception being like Toni Storm. Like her build is like a cohesive story.
I will say I got a little worried with the Toni Storm thing because like their whole last 3 weeks of matches involving her, Mariah May, Mina, and then the Outcasts. Saraya and Harley Cameron, Anna Jay. It feels very reminiscent of a couple years ago where every week you would see the same 4 or 5 female wrestlers. Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, Toni Storm was in that mess. Jamie Hayter, and then like
Ruby Soho.
And then it was like, it was maybe like one more, and they would all be involved in the same either one-on-one, fatal 4-way, tag team match, and it would just be the same lineup. I'm worrying that this is gonna happen. I still am stoked, and the match that she's gonna have with Mina is gonna be really good. But like this week when they were doing that 6-woman tag, I was like, this feels this is a little familiar to me, you know? I will say the ladder match is going to be really good.
I see Jack Perry winning. I think it's going to, lead up to all the shit with the Elite and, him having the TNT title. Like you said, I think it would have been really funny, honestly, if they went through with just handing him the TNT title.
Just give him the belt.
Yeah.
We're the EVPs. We can do this.
Yeah. Like, I thought that was a really good bit. But, I mean, the ladder match is going to be good. It's going to be solid. But Jack Perry's going to win. Like,
also, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy looks like it's going to be a pretty solid match.
Good,
his match with Kyle O'Reilly this week was really fucking good. Really, it was pretty quick, but like they, two technical wrestlers. We saw when he had that match with Danielson in October. Like that was a really good match. I am a Zack Sabre Jr. fan. I'm an Orange Cassidy fan too. So like
they're both
two
great.
very, very differing styles. I had some interest in the the learning tree match.
Oh yeah.
Boy.
Well, because on Dynamite he was like, we're gonna have a 6-man tag at Forbidden Door, and this is our partner, and we're gonna show the footage of the partner, and we haven't seen this footage before, and it was Minoru Suzuki.
Yeah,
and I predicted it too. I was like, I bet you it's gonna be Minoru Suzuki because he always shows up for Forbidden Door, and then the video is just Minoru Suzuki being like, hey, Chris Jericho, I'm actually not going to be teaming up with you at Forbidden Door. I want to face you for the FTW Championship. And so I thought that was the match for Forbidden Door, but it's not. It's the learning tree with Jeff Cobb versus Hook, Joe, and Shibata. So I was confused because I thought this was going to be for that pay-per-view. I thought that was kind of the whole point because, he's a New Japan guy.
Is
Suzuki.
it not?
It's not. It's a 3-on-3 tag team match, and Suzuki's not even a part of it.
Unless they just changed it. Like,
Well,
that was supposed to be the placeholder, and then this time he was like, hey, I'm going to face you? Or they have 2 matches.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get answers on Rampage, but I'm probably not going to watch Rampage.
Yeah. Rampage exists.
It's a show. That's
for sure. It's the same, like 200,000 people watch it every week, and they're happy.
But anyways, you were gonna say something, Joe.
I was just gonna say I think that the last, if you want to circle this back around to kind of impact and things like that, the last big impact that I felt from a New Japan guy coming, not counting Okada signing and all that sort of thing, was like Suzuki when he showed up after Moxley had like that brutal match, and then Moxley looked terrified. He was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
You know why? Because it was the first time it happened, and now it's like, I think they even bring him in more frequently than they should now, and it's not even that frequent. You know what I mean? Like he probably comes every like 3 or 4 months for a match, but even that, like, you don't need to have him come in that frequent. I love Suzuki too. His match with Samoa Joe was fucking insane.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
When that was booked and people were going insane, like, bring me back the era of Tony Khan Cokehead where he just would like book matches that like felt insane, like and they were dream matches too in their own way, but like, I don't know. I think it's gotten to the point where we're like, oh yeah, like we've seen this movie before, kind of. Even if it's with 2 people we've never seen wrestle, like it just doesn't feel special at that point because it's like, are we focusing on dream matches now, or are we focusing on stories? Can we do both? Can we make a good balance? Like, can find that balance? I don't know.
I think to wrap things up here,
I think we hit a new record.
We did. We hit a new record.
The longest episode.
Longest episode, baby. But a solid episode. And Joe, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on here. I think this was probably one of the best conversations we've had about wrestling so far.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Is there any sort of like capacity in which you want to like plug yourself or your comedy or anything like that?
Oh, that's nice of you. I guess just at JoeKatzComedy on Instagram. I'll post my dates and where I'm showing up, and if you want to book me,
hell yeah, dude. I was gonna say me and Justin.
Dude,
The
can-
straight face
me-
after.
me- I was like, me and Justin can go in and see a show, but Justin's in South Carolina.
I did.
Now,
I
so I'll
moved.
just come. I'll come
I'm a
alone.
Southern boy.
Oh, okay, fair
I'll
enough.
come
You have the
alone
southern.
to your show.
You have the southern look, kind of. You kind of look like.
He
I
actually
fit in.
like low-key has like a southern-ish accent. Like if I didn't know any better, I'd think you were from like Maryland.
I
or,
don't
like,
have a
Delaware.
Southern accent. What are you talking
No,
about?
no, like it comes out sometimes. You like
We're like, wee, brother.
sometimes you sound like Pat McAfee when you talk.
Pat
Right
McAfee.
then, I think you did it. I think you did it just then with mean. You go, what do you mean? Something about the way you just said that.
Okay, so it's
Was
not just
southern.
me.
That's when I get
No, no.
loud and squeak. I'm a squeaker.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you.
Of
I
course.
think
Hey.
this was another wonderful episode of what is that? Pokemon?
Oh shit! Wait, let me see.
It's not focusing.
Focus.
It's not.
It's not
Oh, no.
focusing.
Oh, it's a shiny.
Is it a shiny Charizard?
Oh my god, that's a shiny
Oh
Charizard.
my
Holy-
god!
Oh my god, that is so cool.
That's literally the coolest card I've ever seen.
Okay, mom.
Oh boy. All right. Thank you for joining us for another week packed with wrestling. Forbidden Door this weekend. We'll do a little
This
reaction.
episode will be up after Forbidden Door probably.
Yeah, that's true. This
Okay.
will be up on Monday most likely.
We're never see
after
the thing is
Forbidden
like wrestling moves so fast that like by the
Yeah.
time
So
a new
quick.
episode's out, it's like this shit's already old news.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's old, but
We're bad
know.
journalists.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
some
Totally,
people
man.
would. People on YouTube
Oh.
shorts would say we're dog shit and we're
Let's name
bad.
drop them.
Beep beep.
Beep beep.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.